Are USC and UCLA going to get some company on the West Coast in the Big Ten? Did the Big Ten promise USC and UCLA some company? Welcome to the Voice of College Football, the game we all love. We discuss it each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis right here. If you enjoy the content, even if you don't agree with me, please like the video and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. All right. Washington, Oregon. They've applied to the Big Ten. They did it last summer after the Big Ten agreed with USC and UCLA and brought them on board. So we know Washington, Oregon, despite all the rumors to the Big 12, and they may end up in the Big 12. They may remain in the Pac-12, and somehow that league may become stabilized. But there's a big possibility because that's what they want, is to join the Big Ten. All right, we also have some options on the West Coast in the San Francisco area with Stanford and Cal. Many times people will say, Mark, Stanford sucks, Cal sucks. Well, if you're younger than 15 years old, I can understand that response. But Stanford was a really good football program just 5 years ago. They were a near elite football program 10 years ago. And of course, the academics are huge in the Big Ten. They're huge in every conference, truth be known. But especially in the Big Ten, the endowment, the money, the market size in terms of television. Stanford doesn't fill the stadium, doesn't come close to filling an end zone for most of these games in the Pac-12. But you send Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and others to the West Coast and watch the stadium fill. Cal as well, an academic giant, and they can be competent on the football field, and they would be a partner with Stanford, of course. So let's look at what the Big Ten would look like with those four on board, and now we've got a Big 10, a Big 20. Let's take a look. So the Big 10 could go to a three-division format. With 20 teams, they would have two 7-team divisions and one 6-team division, and you know what? It comes out really clean. Look at the West Coast. Everybody stays in that division. It's almost like a mini Pac-12 is basically what it is. You got half the Pac-12 right there with Washington, Oregon, Stanford, Cal, USC, and UCLA. Move it to the Big Ten Central Division, and what do you have? Well, you've got the current Big Ten Western Division. Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska, Illinois, Northwestern, and Purdue. Look familiar? Does this look familiar? The Big Ten Eastern Division. Ohio State, Michigan. Penn State, Michigan State, Maryland, Indiana, Rutgers. Yes, it's the Big Ten configuration of the 14 teams as it currently stands and has since 2014. So in regards to scheduling, you would play, of course, all the teams in your division. So if you're in the Western Division, you've got 5 division opponents, and then you've got 4 other conference games that would rotate through the other 2 divisions. For the current Western Division and Eastern Division of the Big Ten, you would play 6 division opponents and 3 games that would rotate against the rest of the conference. Therefore, you would face everybody in the Big Ten within 4 years. That's not too bad for a 20-team conference. Now that we're up to 20 teams in the Big Ten, it's impossible to build a regular season format with one conference championship game in which you have a justified, valid champion of the conference. Here's why. You play 9 conference games. You're a particular team. You play 9 conference games. You've taken away 10 teams from the field in the Big Ten. There are 10 teams out there that you have not played in the regular season. Therefore, you got to go to a mini format in regards to a playoff format, and this is what it could look like based on last year's results. If you look at 2022, you've got division champions. So this is the way we would set it up. 3 division champions, 1 wild card, the team with the best record, and you go through a series of tiebreakers that we're not going to detail here, but you use an NFL-style model to determine, starting with head-to-head, of course, the wild card team. So your division champions from last season, USC, Purdue, and Michigan. Your wild card clearly is Ohio State with 1 conference loss. Therefore, based on 2022 results, we would have seen Michigan, Purdue in a semifinal game, USC and Ohio State in the other semifinal game based on record. You don't like that one? Let's go to a pod system. Let's go to smaller units playing more frequently against those particular rivals. And again, as I've noted in all these videos, if you follow me here at the Voice of College Football, then you know that we're protecting the rivalries. Don't worry about it. The pods could look like this, the California pod, and I'm not proposing that it be called the California pod, but that's what it is. You go with your own naming convention. USC, UCLA, Stanford, and Cal. That's a nice little pod. So is this. Oregon, Washington, and then the two most Western teams from the existing Big Ten make up the Western Division. The Huskies, the Ducks, Iowa, and Nebraska. Then we go to the North Division. Minnesota, Wisconsin, of course, followed by Illinois and Northwestern. We're keeping rivalries together. Look at this. To the Central Division. Ohio State, Michigan, Purdue, Indiana. Then also the Eastern Division. We've got Penn State, we've got Michigan State, we've got Rutgers, and we've got Maryland. Those are pods of 4, 5 different pods. And your 4 division champions just flat out play, and that makes it very simple. Although 4 different teams would have made the playoffs under this format as opposed to the other format we propose, where we would have a first-round game of Michigan, Washington, the other game, USC, and Penn State. In terms of the schedule, you play the 3 teams in your pod or division. Then you've got 6 other games that rotate throughout the rest of the conference. And again, we're not going to dive deep into scheduling, but it can be figured out in regards to protecting rivalries first and foremost. And then you go from there. And obviously, you want to build schedules that are equal and fair for competitive balance and to justify the championship. There it is, folks. Do you like it? The Big 10? The Big 20? Well, it's a brand name. They're going to stay with the Big 10. They didn't change when they added Penn State in 1993, 30 years ago. So people that propose, oh, well, they're going to have to change the name. No, they won't. It's a brand name. It's the Big 10/20. Leave your comments below whether you like these pods and the scheduling system and so forth right here at the Voice of College Football.